Chrono Odyssey's embargo for the upcoming CBT has dropped, and there's been a ton of new information out there, along with people's thoughts on the game, breaking down what they liked, what they didn't like, and so much more. Just cutting to what everyone wants to know, is Chrono Odyssey going to be a good game? Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be that straight of an answer. Throughout these playtests, it sounds like the creators who got to try out the game were playing on a build that was almost 5 months old. This 5-month-old build is going to be pretty close to the one the general population gets access to next week with the closed CBT, and if you know anything at all about game development, then you know a lot can change in those 5 months that we haven't seen of the game. Some of the creators even said so themselves, talking about how some of their concerns have actually already been addressed, but they aren't allowed to talk about it due to an NDA. Kinda seems odd to me that they're not allowed to say, hey, this system is a lot better than what I actually played, but what do I know? With that being said, it's hard to get a good read on where the game is currently at, and it sounds like we will be in a similar boat next week. So right now, the overall consensus of it is, the game has potential, but it's far from great. Most people seem to like it overall, but there is a bunch of issues that arise that have people questioning how good it will be. Animations, graphics, and polish all seem to be at the top of the list. A consistent trend across all of these creators' videos is that NPC and player animations feel kinda clunky. So clunky, in fact, that some of the boss mechanics are hard to judge because what should have been a simple dodge turned into their character's demise. This goes hand in hand with poor latency issues for a lot of people and tons of bugs that have yet to be fixed. Not only that, but if you watch what IGN and the official Chrono Odyssey channel dropped for gameplay lately, which is the same gameplay I'm currently using in my video, and then go watch some of these other creators' gameplay, there appears to be a significant downgrade in visuals. Some of this does seem due to the creators' personal rigs, as the graphics seem to get better or worse depending on who you watch, but even the best graphics from creators is still far from what we've seen in these videos. Side note, if you're watching this and wondering why I'm not showing some of those other creators' gameplay as comparison, well, it's because I'm not going to take other people's videos when they've just posted it, so go watch their stuff with the links in the description. Along with these details though, I have heard talks about poor lighting, inconsistencies between what you make in the character creator and what actually shows up in games, along with things like your character's hair just randomly disappearing. This part I kinda find humorous as an Ashes of Creation creator, as the game is currently suffering the exact same issues in their alpha, making me wonder if this is an Unreal Engine 5 issue. Character customization as a whole seems to have some mixed reviews behind it. Some say it's fantastic, and others are saying it's mid and they're having a hard time really shaping their character to how they like it. That's pretty much it for the bad though. The game does seem to do a lot right. The names New World and Dark Souls are thrown around a lot, which isn't surprising as the UI and the more grim tone of the world seems right in line with New World, and action combat in games these days are constantly compared to Souls combat, which some would say is peak action combat. Another similarity to New World is the crafting. It seems that overall just about everybody enjoys what Chrono is calling life skills. The gathering is fun, it's a good way to progress your character level, and unlike New World, gathering resources isn't level restricted, but higher end resources will just take more time for you to gather, and these materials still really won't have any use for you until you hit that end game crafting profession, but you can still come across something rare and then stash it until later or sell it on the trade post. General consensus on combat is the combat is done well. There's animation locking, but nothing that feels over the top terrible. Each class has 3 weapons and 8 skills per weapon they can use, and each one sounds like it really makes a difference depending on certain situations. Movement overall seems to be pretty smooth and overall just feels good, and the biggest issues being those clunky boss fights that I talked about earlier. Despite those clunky mechanics, open world boss fights sound like they're pretty good, but a lot of the instance and solo content is where it seems to be lacking. From the poor animations, dumb mechanics that are not avoidable, and the overall staleness of each labyrinth or trial, there seems to be a lot of desire for improvements in these areas. I will say though that every single creator I watched or read seemed to struggle on the tutorial boss, but in a good way. Except for the guy in this article who really just sounded like he didn't understand the game throughout his entire play session, which doesn't seem like it's the game's fault, but more of user error. Open flag PvP also sounds like a win. In this test, they had access to dueling and toggle PvP, and while it doesn't seem like there's much reason to do toggle PvP right now, players who did engage in the PvP enjoyed it, and from what I've watched, the time to kill seems like it's in a good spot, and there seems to be a lot of skill tied into it. When it comes to dueling, there were some concerns about the small area you can duel in before it kicks you out, and the lack of basic basic duel features like your health regenerating after the dueling ends, and a flag that pops in the middle of the field that has collision tied to it that can cause some line of sight issues. When it comes to being an MMORPG and how populated the world feels, I didn't see much talk around this, but I did ask a guy on Reddit and a creator I know who tested it, and both stated that there were other players about in the world doing their own thing, but there were only about 40 creators in the preview, so it was really hard to get a good judgment on how populated these servers will be. Overall, it seems like Chrono Odyssey is going to have people waiting on the edge of their seats to figure out if a lot of these issues are addressed and how well Chrono Studios actually listens to feedback. Just about everyone said that the foundation of the game was very good, and they could see it becoming a really good game if handled right and if Chrono Studios actually listens and responds to player feedback. So let's hope that Chrono Studios is up to the task to bringing us this new MMORPG, because the genre desperately needs it.